Hey, this is Russ. Yeah, in a couple of days it'll be Thanksgiving. Now you might be wondering, when am I heading back out there? Yeah, not anytime soon. I took a look at the weather today and it said it was going to be in the 40s. So I said, is that something I can do? And the answer is no, I can't do it. Yeah, when the wind hits you, it's still colder than the 40s. So yeah, I can't get out there. It's just too cold for me. So I wanted to talk about batteries today. Now the reason I'm thinking about batteries is because I'm still waiting for my second batteries from Magicycle. Yeah, people always say, you guys get things first. No, we don't. I don't have my second batteries. Okay, they did give me a second battery for the Magicycle Cruiser a while ago, but I had requested second batteries for the Jaguar Rundy and also for the Ocelot Pro because I want to take these two bikes further. Now, obviously I can't do that this year. It's too late. But when I originally requested it, it was way, way early, probably like July. And yeah, still haven't gotten any. So yeah, if you have a second battery from them, let me know. I want to know if everyone else is getting them. We're just not getting them. So anyway, they told me that they were going to send it, and that was weeks ago. Still haven't gotten it. So I sent them a couple of emails, and I still haven't heard back from them. So I'm beginning to wonder, are they not responding to me, or what? Usually I hear back from them pretty quickly, but it's been several emails now, and I haven't heard one word from them. So Magicycle, if you're watching, contact Russ is right. Okay, I just wanted to find out what happened to these things. I don't want them lost, because sometimes things get sent, and they think they've been delivered, but they've been delivered to somebody else. Okay, I have not received them. Just to let Magicycle know in case they're watching. Okay. Anyway, that's not the reason I wanted to talk about the batteries, but it did cross my mind. Where are these batteries? I need them for the next year's plans. So anyways, I wanted to talk about integrated batteries and batteries that stick out, okay? Now, when I first bought my Rad Rover 5, the battery sticks out. It just sits on top of the down tube. Now, this was pretty common in the day, but over time, more and more batteries are now integrated into the down tube of the bike. So you don't see the battery. Now, there's good and bad about both of them. So I want to discuss the good and the bad, all right? Now, the reason I kind of liked the Rad Rover 5 initially was because it was sticking out. You could see the battery. And the reason I wanted that is because I knew then that it would be easy to modify that bike to add a second battery, okay? Now, if you have certain types of bikes, it's kind of hard to change the battery. Like for instance, I have the Engwe EP2 Pro, okay? Now this is similar to like electric batteries, the electric XPs. You have to fold the bike to get the battery out and then get the new battery in, okay? That's not that convenient, but there's a benefit for it, okay? The benefit is that the battery is hidden inside the down tube and it's locked in place. So if you left your bike and locked up your bike, people really can't get to your battery. All right. Now, if you have a battery that's sticking out, people can first off see that there's a... Do you guys get political emails still? Because I keep getting them. Another political email. Yeah, they always want me to send money. And let's take a look at this political email. It has nothing to do with e-bikes. I know everyone's going to talk about this, but hey, look. Every day I'm getting send us $40, $100, $250, $500 to some guy. Where's this guy out of? Yeah, he's out of Georgia. All right. I'm not in Georgia, okay? Sending me this thing is like ridiculous. And yeah, I don't respond to those things, by the way. I just delete them, okay? Do you guys get these things? It just bothers me. All right, back to the battery, all right? If it's integrated, you can't see it, you can't get to it, but it's a hassle to get it out when you want to swap out the batteries, okay? But if you have a battery that's sticking out, like the Rad Rover 5 battery, you can access it pretty fast. You can change that battery out pretty fast too. Now for me, I knew that I would never make it to certain places on one battery. It's pretty much a given. Based on my weight and how I ride, I don't have enough range. I need a second battery to get further, okay? So I carry a second battery on the rear rack most often. In fact, if I had a third battery, I'd carry another battery on that rear rack too. Go even farther, all right? So here's the thing. If you have an exposed battery, everyone knows it's an e-bike, right? If it's integrated into the down tube, it's harder to tell it's an e-bike. Now, The new batteries that are integrated in some of these bikes, like for instance, like the Ocelot Pro, okay, 52 volt, 20 amp hour battery. That down tube's pretty fat, right? You can pretty much tell that's probably an e-bike. You know, most think about your old mountain bikes or even your road bikes. How thin are those down tubes, right? And then you look at these new bikes. I'm looking at the Ocelot Pro right over here. That's why I keep looking to the side. It's so fat, you can pretty much tell that's probably an e-bike, even though you can't really see the battery very well. It's kind of on the bottom, actually. But again, if you had like the electric or the Engwe, it slid into the down tube, so it's a little bit harder to see it all together, right? So yeah, now the whole point about these batteries, if you're going to add your own battery, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because a couple people have asked me this past week about changing out batteries to like triangle batteries that I'm using on my Rad Rover 5. You have to do some major modifications if you're going to do that, right? I had to cut into the system, cut the power cord essentially, and solder on some XT90 connectors. And then I had to change the battery connectors to accept the XT90s as well. You could also use XT60s, by the way. The Area 13 Blackbird uses XT60s, so I made some adapter cables and everything for it. So if you use those type of batteries where you're going to be putting on batteries that are not what's not coming from the manufacturer, you've got to do some modifications. Now, I don't suggest you do this unless you've soldered before and you're familiar with some electrical principles, okay? Battery fires are real, and if you short the batteries out, yeah, you're going to catch a fire. Yeah, let me warn you about that. But again, as you guys know, I do have a background in electronics engineering, and I've done a lot of soldering in my past. I'm pretty familiar with how to do this stuff. So I did it to mine, and so I know that others have said, well, if Russ could do it, then I can do it too. Well, if you haven't soldered before, let me warn you, do not do it yourself. Ask somebody else to do it for you, somebody who actually knows what they're doing with soldering, all right? You don't want wires accidentally touching or anything like that. It's got to be insulated properly. So, and you got to know what goes where, okay? If you don't know what a positive and a negative or a common or any of that kind of stuff means, have someone else do it, right? So, yeah, the easiest way is to buy the battery from the manufacturers, okay? But sometimes you want to go beyond that. Like for instance, the reason I didn't buy the Rad Rover 5's battery is because the battery was very expensive and it was only 14 amp hours. And I figured if I moved to the third-party batteries that had 20 amp hours, it went to 52 volts at 20 amp hours, it would get me a little further. And sure enough, it does. Okay, so I carried two 20 amp hour batteries for that Rad Rover 5. And it's the bike that I use for big distances. If I want to go all the way down to that Botanic Gardens, it's an over 60-mile ride back and forth, I take the Rad Rover 5. Now the reason is because they have a smaller a smaller motor in there, so it doesn't grab as much power, and because of that, it doesn't eat as much of the battery as fast. So it stretches it out. It gives me the range. Now I could do it a different way. I could take another bike that's maybe a 750 watt motor, a true 750 watt motor that peaks higher to over 1,000 watts. If I carried three batteries, well, then of course at that point it wouldn't be a difference, right? It wouldn't be a problem. You can ride with that then, but it's an additional battery, additional weight, right? So that's the reason I keep that Rad Rover 5. It doesn't do everything I want it to do as a bike, okay, compared to some of the bikes I have now. But I get distance out of that, and that's why I use that bike for my distance. Now, my preference would be if I could grab something like the Magicycle Cruiser or the Ocelot Pro or something like that and ride those bikes, I would take that. Now, I've done the Magicycle Cruiser to the Botanic Garden once, but I just barely made it home, all right? Because the original battery is like 15 amp hours, and then I have a 20 amp hour battery version. So I only have 35 amp hours. Now, it sounds funny that you're only shy by 5 amp hours, but that 5 amp hours would have made a difference of you making it home or not making it home. So I just barely made it home before the batteries were going to die out on me. So in cases like that, you either upgrade to two 20 amp hour batteries for that Magicycle Cruiser, or you carry a third one, right? Then you can go even further. So you guys know that I've been talking about this whole thing about RAGBRAI because I would really like to do that ride, but I know I will never do it simply because I can't walk very well for long distances, and there's a certain amount of walking after the ride that people do because they all go out and party and everything like that. It would be tough for me to do that. So I know for a fact I can't do it. But beyond that, the ride is an issue too. I would need to probably bring 3 batteries at least for that ride, simply because I'm a big guy. Now, if you're not as big as me and you're lighter in weight, you can probably do RAGBRAI pretty easily on a couple of batteries, because some people actually used e-bikes at RAGBRAI. I was watching a lot of these videos, and what they do is they ride at pedal assist level 0, which means no battery, no power, no nothing, and PAS 0 or 1, okay? So they're using very low batteries, but they're doing most of the pedaling themselves, okay? That's how they last. But for me, I know with the bad knee and everything, I need to be on 2 or 3 on the PAS levels, and that's going to eat battery plus my weight. Just keeps adding batteries. I would need at least 3 or 4 batteries. Okay, that would mean that, yeah, people would say, well, you're not doing anything. You're just going to throttle it all the way for 100 miles. No, I would pedal, but I would need it for just in case, because if those batteries were to die on me in the middle of the ride, man, where would I go? I mean, I would have to ride that sag wagon, they call it, where they pick you up because you can't make it, right? I would have to ride that. Plus, where would I get all these batteries charged up? There's places that will charge your battery for you. You pay for that, but man, are they gonna charge 3 or 4 of my batteries? I don't know how that would work. And I also wondered too, with all the fire issues that go on, how do they know what they're charging is not going to cause a fire one day? Yeah, I mean, that's different than charging like the devices that other people have, like GoPro batteries, cell phone batteries. Okay, that could catch fire too. But have you ever seen the fires that happen on e-bike batteries? Yeah, those things shoot out major fire coming out of there. Yeah, take a look at some e-bike fire videos on YouTube. I think you'd be shocked at how powerful these fires actually are. And it sounds like a lot of times the fires happen during charging. Right? Okay, I guess they could spontaneously just start a fire, but that's kind of rare, right? It's usually when the guy's charging and overcharging. That's when the problems happen. And if you're using your own batteries and you didn't wire it properly, yeah, that's when the fires happen. Okay. So this is why I'm saying, if you're going to do it and you're going to make extension cords like I do, you got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you do risk that potential of fire. Now, a couple of you guys have said that I've scared you a little bit in e-bikes, and you're not buying an e-bike because you heard about the fires. Well, if I scared you, then good, right? Because what I'm trying to say is you got to be careful. I mean, even if you know what you're doing, you still got to be careful. I'm always very careful when I start charging. And I'm always watching that charger, and if that light turns to green, I unplug the charger right away. Yeah. So I've even been thinking, and I know some people have said this on some different forums, of sticking the battery inside my barbecue grill, and plugging it in and closing the hatch, so if the fire happens, it's at least contained within the barbecue grill. I'm even tempted to buy a basic barbecue grill that's never been used, just to put the batteries in there to charge it. As weird as that sounds, that's really not a bad idea, quite frankly, because you have a cover that goes over the top. If you got like a 22-inch Weber grill, it's going to fit the battery in there. Even my triangle batteries would fit in there. Now, if you haven't seen my backyard, I have a lot of grills. Yeah, I do. I got like 3 smokers. I have a 22-inch kettle, and then I have a gas grill as well. So I could use one of those things, but it seems kind of funny to, I don't want my battery smelling like barbecue. I'd rather buy a brand new grill, stick it in there. So as weird as that sounds, it's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, something totally enclosed. Then the other thought was, what if I just bought, what did I say before? It was a toolbox, a metal toolbox that was large enough, and then closed it, drilled a hole on the side so that I can stick the cable through it, charge it in there. Wouldn't that be better? I don't know. I really don't know. It seems like the gas grill, not the gas. Well, okay, it could be a gas grill, but if you use a gas grill, take the propane tank out of there. Do not leave that there. If that catches fire, that thing's going to blow the propane tank too, okay? So I'm talking about no other things other than the grill, okay? No no fuel around it. It's what I'm saying. If you're just using it as a container, so that you can plug your chargers, charge your batteries in there, that's what I'm talking about, right? Then I kept thinking too, these grills are in the backyard during the summertime. It's kind of hot. I don't want to charge my batteries in the hot sun, right? So I would need to have that either inside or at least in the garage or something like that. But yeah, if it was contained in something like that, I think that would be a safer way to charge. I don't know. Tell me what you think about that idea, okay? I mean, I know people would not spend like $100 just for something to put their battery in while they're charging, but I do have a lot of these batteries, so I really want to protect myself and my house and my family. I don't want to just charge and hope that thing, doesn't explode, because there's always a chance it could, right? So yeah, if I scared you about it, that's okay. Better to be aware and scared about it than not to know about it at all and then just haphazardly charge, okay? So anyways, that's all I wanted to say. Be careful with the charging on that. Now, the whole thing again with these triangle batteries and the down tubes and all that and integrated batteries, can you put a triangle battery with the integrated type batteries? And the answer is yes. Yeah, you could do it. But a lot of these integrated batteries, the controllers and everything are kind of hidden. You don't see it. It's not on the outside. The Rad Rover 5 has a controller on the outside. The Area 13 bike has it on the outside. The Hemiway has it on the outside. So accessing that is very easy to do. So modifications are easy. But if you have a bike that has the whole thing is integrated into that down tube, the controllers are kind of hidden. You'd have to be able to get into it to access it. Now, keep in mind, anytime you do these things, you're going to void your warranties, right? They're not going to warranty anything the minute you start messing with the electronics and everything like that. So just be aware that if you do it, you're doing it at your own risk. You're going to lose all your warranties. Some have said, well, can I just wait until after the warranty? Sure, you could wait. But again, the whole point is be careful if you do it, and you got to know what you're doing, okay? Because once you start cutting wires, and if you make a mistake, it could be a problem for you, okay? So yeah, don't do it unless you really know what you're doing, and get some help to do it if you don't know what you're doing. And my suggestion is, if you can afford it, buy the batteries from the manufacturers. It's a lot safer that way. Get good batteries too, like the Unipack power batteries that I'm using on that Rad Rover 5. They're the Chinese cells. Now, somebody said, well, they also do have quality cells available. You pay more for it. Yeah, I know they do have them, but I bought the ones with the Chinese cells, okay? And the reason is because it was cheaper, okay? So those are the ones that you always have to be a little more worried about. But a lot of people said it was doing fine, and people have said, well, that's the brand that has had the fires. Yeah, that's true. that has fires out of that brand. But I think a lot of those things, again, like I said, was during charging times, or when you're running it in parallel, and then maybe your cabling is a little different, or the potentials are not proper between the two cells, the two batteries that you're using, and you're running them in parallel. That's the potential for problems. So this is why I don't do what some of the other people do. I run it sequentially, in the sense that when one battery is finished and it's exhausted, I unplug it and plug in the new battery. So in the long run, that's a lot safer than running it in parallel. Now, I know that some of you guys are going to argue that fact, but realistically, it is safer if you just use one at a time. Now, you lose some benefits. There are some benefits to parallel runs. You can get some more range, you get a little more power out of it and everything, the efficiency and all that. I know all that stuff, but I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in getting some distance, okay? And because of that, the safest way to do it then, if that's the only thing you're interested in, is wait until one battery is exhausted, unplug it, plug in the new battery, okay? I don't think anyone could really argue that fact. That is the safest way to do it, although not necessarily the most efficient way of doing it. But we're not talking efficiency here. I'm just talking, I want some more range. That's all I'm looking for. All right, I think that's enough. Just wanted to let you guys know that, and keep you going on the videos. So there might not be a video for Thursday because that is Thanksgiving, but I'll have a video for you guys by Saturday. I'll talk to you guys next time.